There's an old adage that says a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. But if you think about it, there's actually something that has to precede the first step on a journey of 1,000 miles. And what is that? So we're starting the Torah anew, and one of the beautiful things about starting the Torah anew is that we have a rule that if you want to understand the meaning of a word in the Torah, look at the first time you find the use of that word, because that will be the most accurate interpretation, description of that word. There's a famous teaching of our rabbis in the Talmud. The rabbis say, Yesh kono olamo b'sha'achat, which means a person can acquire the whole world, their whole world, in one sha'ah, in one sha'ah. And most people think that the word sha'ah means in 1 hour, in one moment. In one moment you could change your whole life. You could acquire the whole world in one moment. And that's true, of course. However, the word sha'ah, which everyone always translates as moment or hour, is found for the first time in this week's Torah portion, and it does not mean an hour or a moment. It talks in this week's story about Cain and Abel. We all know what happened. God did not accept the offering of Cain. He accepted the offering of Abel, and as a result, Cain was jealous of his brother and murders his brother. But when the Torah describes God accepting the generous offer of Abel and not accepting the one of Cain, look at this week's Torah portion. It says, Vel Cain vel minchato, to Cain and his offering, lo sha'ah. God did not turn. And therefore what you see is that the real meaning of sha'ah is not a moment or an hour, but turning. And therefore when the rabbis say you could acquire the whole world in one moment, sha'ah literally means in one turn. In Yiddish we say mit ein care. When you think about a journey of 1,000 miles, before you take the first step, you first have to put yourself in the right direction. Or else your destination, you won't arrive at your destination. If you veer one little slight turn to the right or to the left, it changes the whole trajectory of your journey and your ultimate destination. And therefore what the rabbis are really saying is that in life, with one little turn, by putting yourself in the right direction, you could change the whole span of your life and your ultimate destination of your goals and your achievements. And therefore, the first thing, even before you take the first step, is to turn yourself and put yourself in the right direction. And the best example I could think of course, is the story of Moshe Rabbeinu at the burning bush. He's taking care of his father-in-law's flock, and he sees a burning bush. And what does the Torah says? The Torah says, he said, let me turn to see what's happening. That turn, to look at the burning bush, and then approach it and hear the voice of God, changed Moshe Rabbeinu's whole trajectory of his life. Instead of being a shepherd for the rest of his life, he became the greatest leader ever. And it changed the whole trajectory of the Jewish nation till this very day. And you could see the impact that one little turn in the right direction could make. And of course, the younger you are, and the earlier you turn in the right direction, especially with children, the more impactful the destination will be and the journey of life will be. But at every age, at every stage of life, we can choose to turn ourselves and put ourselves in the right direction. Conclude with a story that's very popular on the internet. And the story is the story of Kyle. And it's a true story. The story was that there was a kid going home from high school one day. He was a freshman. And he sees another kid who was known as like the nerd of the class, carrying all his books home on a Friday. And he's thinking, what a nerd. It's the weekend. Why is he taking all his books home to study? But then he sees a bunch of kids run over to him and push him on the ground. His books go flying. His glasses goes flying. The kid falls on the floor, and they start taunting him. Long story short, he runs over to help this kid. Picks up his books. He finds his glasses. He walks home with him. He gets to know this kid. And he says, what are you doing on Sunday? Come play football with me. They start becoming friends. And the way the story goes is this kid was so bright, he ended up becoming the valedictorian in high school. When he got up to give his graduation speech, he said, I'm here to thank my teachers, my classmates, but most important, one friend who saved my life. And he went on to say that one day I was going home and I decided my life wasn't worth living because all my friends were taunting me and mocking me in class. I had no friends. And so I decided I'll take home all my books so my mother won't have to go to my locker after I commit suicide. But my plan was to commit suicide that weekend. And then he told the story how the friends pushed him on the ground and humiliated him. But this one kid crossed the street to help him out and became his friend. And because of that one friendship, he decided it's worth carrying on living because he now finally had a friend. And he looked at this friend of his in the audience and he said, I want to thank you for saving my life. And this friend said the whole room was astonished. And he turned around and he saw the appearance of this valedictorian, Kyle, looking at him with that beautiful smile, thanking him for giving their son a reason to live. Sometimes you never know how one turn can change your life or change the life of another person, and that's the message of this week's parsha. Turn in the right direction. You never know how far that turn will take you.